is my next project. Should be a good little one. From TFL. Open. It's a TFL Pursuit, but not like one you've seen before. I got it custom made to my specs. This is just a little bit of other stock that came in, not part of the boat. Never had one of these done in red before, and even TFL had never done one in red before. They're normally yellow with these nice decals. And the person over there that I deal with said after this one was all put together, they all stood around and admired it and said, why haven't we ever thought of this before, doing it red instead of yellow? So it does look really good. With the TFL you get a choice of either having the basic strut or a proper stinger like this one. With the stinger, their standard is a 2-piece cable, so I've just gone with the standard one, which is 1 piece, or the normal one, which is 1 piece. Standard for TFL is the 2-piece. I've gone with the float chamber one as well, like the new Spartan SRs have and the Sonic Wakes. I see that to do that they've got to put these tiny little trim tabs on there, so I don't know how it's going to perform. It probably won't handle quite as good at real high speed with the smaller trim tabs as they do with their normal ones, which are about that wide. Just a 1 turn fin instead of 2. Inside we've got more stock. Packing. Inside I've gone with an extra layer of Kevlar. It's just a fiberglass hull. I could have had the hull made in Kevlar, fiberglass, or carbon fiber. I've just gone fiberglass with Kevlar. The other big thing that they did differently for me was they fitted one of these adjustable battery trays. So you bolt your battery in there and you can move the weight just by tightening that wherever you want it. And they've actually never fitted one of these to a Pursuit before. They didn't even know if they were going to be able to do it, so they got it done for me. That's the difference between a TFL boat and a Traxxas or a Pro boat, whereas TFL are handmade and they'll do it, you know, they'll build it however you want. If you can afford it, they'll just do whatever you say. Oh, they'll give me a collar. I didn't even ask for it, so I've got a collar. Got a rudder that I'm not going to use because I want to swap it out for one of our 4 inlet, 2 outlet rudders. The standard one is just one inlet, 1 outlet. So TFL still don't make this, you know, a dual outlet options for these, which is a surprise. We've been making these for like 15 years and plenty of people use them, so I don't know. So I'll be swapping out for that. The collar I'm not going to use because I'm going to go with one of these monsters. So it's a 4080 in TP numbers. That means 40 millimeter diameter, but something like 80 is something like 110 mil long. It's not like all the other ones where they tell you like a leopard or something be 4080 would mean 80 mil long. TP don't do it like that. It'd be simpler if they would. These have an 8 mil shaft on them, which is monster, so I'm going to be putting an 8 mil collet. I've actually picked the biggest motor you can buy, and I don't know if I'm going to use it now. That looks massive in there, doesn't it? It's a 2350 kV, and it's a CM motor, so the high RPM. They actually rate these up to 8S, believe it or not. Even on 6S, like, you know, you think that'd be crazy. I'm not a fan of high RPMs in electric boats. 1650 is what I'd be going with if I wasn't going to do something just, you know, just different out of the box. So 2350 on 6S is going to be really high. So I'll be running a small prop on that. I haven't looked up the amps on this, but it's going to be right up there. That is going to take a lot of room in that boat. It's quite heavy too, but might as well do something different. I'm going to use a ZTW 200 amp. I do have an 300 amp option, of course, but you got to run your separate battery pack, and it just gets more complicated in there. Plus, they're quite heavy as well, and large, the 300s. So we just go with the 200, and hopefully I don't blow it up. Okay, all right. I'm going to use some of our exhaust outlets for water outlets. I'm not going to use the normal ones on the side. I told them I didn't want any holes drilled in it for water inlets or outlets. So I'll probably chuck them there, or maybe one there and one there or something like that. Okay, so I've got some soldering to do. I'm going to be using 8mm terminals all on here. And on here I'll be using the QS8 anti-spark plugs. So there's the soldering done. I have just used an adapter on the QS8 to our 5.5mm terminal, because that's what all my batteries have. I don't feel like changing the battery terminals on one battery and just having it specific for this boat. It's only a 200 amp speed controller, so that's going to be the weak link anyway. I don't need to put terminals on there that can handle 400 amps. So I'm cheating a bit, but I'm just going to use the adapter. Motor cooler wise, this motor actually is 115, longer than that, almost 120mm long, probably 118. The TFL mount only allows, the rear ring is going to be like here, and it only allows like 70mm or barely 70mm to put a cooler on there. So I'll be using one of our 40x68mm coolers. If I was going to build this boat myself, I would put one of our longer mounts in, and I'd be able to use the next size cooler up. Also, if I build it myself, I would also have not mounted the stinger right in the middle. I would have mounted it about 2mm over this way, like Impulses do. Proboat does with their Impulse from the factory. You can see there's the middle there, and that's where they put it. I guess it's like 4mm. What would I say here? There's the middle. Oh god, it's like 10mm. It's way over, isn't it? It's like 10mm over that way. The reason for that is anything fast, anything with a lot of power is the prop is gonna want to turn the boat when you nail it. And if you offset the stinger, that helps a lot with that. That'll help it going straight rather than wanting to turn. But that's okay. It's not so important if you run a smaller prop, because the prop has less power over the boat, I suppose you'd say, with the steering of the boat. So because it's going to be high RPM small prop, it's not really going to be an issue. But as a habit, if I'm going to build a mono, I would also always pull the stinger over a little bit. It looks funny, but it works. Just putting the cooler on the motor is something, it's so simple. You'd think that no one could ever have trouble doing it, but I do get emails pretty much every week about how to actually do it. Our coolers come with 2 sets of O-rings. These are for a slightly smaller diameter motor than 40mm, so you're not going to use them hardly ever. So what you need to do is get your O-rings in there. Don't use something like CRC or a WD-40 to lubricate the O-rings. They're rubber, so you don't want something that's going to, like petroleum based, it's going to perish them. So just use your dishwashing liquid. So I'm going to have my wires up the top, because that's where my KV is. because you know, I do have so many boats I forget what the hell what I've done. This one's gone in super easy, no problem. Most of them will. Every now and then you might, there we go, every now and then you might need to use a vise and, you know, put the edge of the cooler there in one part of the vise, the front of the motor in the other jaw, and squash it on just to start. But yeah, it's pretty simple. You'll should always get in the habit of putting a little bit of water hose in there, blocking this, and just make sure it's not leaking, just in case the O-ring has moved in the groove there as you forced it on. Actually, no, this one didn't because of the way it went on. But yeah, you should always check that. Okay, so I thought I had 70mm to play with there, because the mount bolts are there. But because of the angle of the motor, it actually pushes the bottom of the bottom of that bracket further back. So probably the next one down is only 55mm, which will definitely fit. But then I've got so much hanging out here that's not cool, so I'm not going to use this bracket. I'm just going to support the motor myself from underneath and use a nice long cooler. Okay, I'm going to use one of these giant ones that we make. I don't think you can get these anywhere else in the world. I haven't seen them anywhere, anything this long anyway. It's 40mm by 105mm long. So this is 115mm motor, but you can't use it all. You can't cover it all because you got those two, well, you got the bolts there, and over here, you know, it tapers down. So if that had the O-rings in it, do a little test, and it's going to be beautiful. Okay, so the next little issue I've got now is most motors, like your 40mm motors, are going to be an M3 bolt in here, and that's what they allow for here in the these slots here. But these big ones are actually an M4 bolt, so I'm going to have to take this out and just enlarge that a little bit. I just made up a little spacer to sit underneath here. I've just glued it in, just waiting for some glue to dry, so that this is resting on that. Speed controller's in. I've just double-sided taped that in because I may need to move it, you know, forward or back to get the balance right. Not going to know until I get a battery in there and actually run the boat. Just lightly bolted our twin outlet rudder blade on. This is my 20kg Servo waterproof. Now TFL gives you this style of, you know, steering rod, and the idea is like this part here just goes in one of the holes of that, and you just push it in. But there's just a little bit of slop there, and I don't like that. Plus it's 2mm, and I'd rather use the thickest I can get. So I'm going to use a 3mm rod. It's going to be, I'm going to use a metal one of these, by the way. So there's going to be a bolt that goes through here with a nut on the other side. I just need to swap out. Our rudders have the fitting there to fit the standard ones, like the standard 2mm shaft. So I'm going to put a 3mm one of those, one with a 3mm hole, and that'll be the steering sorted out. Just doing the water now. I was going to fit these two exhaust outlets. I don't know, maybe in the middle or maybe in the sides, I'm not sure. Yeah, I might go on the outside and I'll run the two water lines in there. But I remembered I've got a box of these things. These are actually, I got these made up in stainless steel rather than aluminium anodized. And the idea for that was I actually wanted to do the blue tip on them. But it's not really working out how I wanted it to. Oops, let's not do it like that. So I heat them up, get them glowing red. Nice and hot. And then when it cools down, like I get the blue tinge there, but it's not, as blue as you might see on a little car exhaust, like on a Fast and Furious type thing, which is what I was hoping for. But I might have to just live with that. So when they're sat around for a bit, they kind of really dull out. And you got to put clear on them to keep them like that even. So I've never actually put these on the website because it didn't really work out how I wanted it to. So if anyone can tell me how to make these, like get that really blue, you can see while now it's cooled down, it's like the other one. It doesn't really stand out that much. So if anyone knows the secret to getting a lot of blue on there, let me know. Okay, so we're pretty close now. Got the servo in, ran my lines. I was going to put the 2 exhausts in the middle here, like I probably normally would, and these on the outside, but I just thought I'd do something totally different, just for no reason. So they're my outlets, that's my inlet. Done everything in black so it kind of hides, you know, a lot of the stuff, make it look a little bit neater. Just got to program the ESC for the first time, so it's just a matter of what do we got here. ESC minus that way. There's 2 ways you can power these things up. You can put power into here, and then it will light up, or I'm just going to do it through the battery. So it's getting its main feed in there. So there we go. So what do we got here? To put up with some noise for a bit. Okay, ready to connect. Okay, break off. Yes, that's what we want. Where are we going here? Okay, and we go along here. Value. Soft, nope, don't want any of that. Break off. Menu, battery type LiPo, voltage protect 3, so we just want to go up a little bit on that one. 3.2 is the minimum voltage I want when it shuts down. Motor timing 2 degrees. It's low, isn't it? What do we get here? 8. It's a dewind motor, I'm sure. What do we got here? Use the box to mix up some glue. Pretty sure it's a dewind. 8 is perfect. Well, I'll leave it on 8. I'll put a small prop on it just to be super safe. Motor direction forward. We can swap that with wires if we want. Start strength. Always like to be low. Okay, so 30% is a minute. Oh no, 10%. 20%, we'll go with that one. If you're ever going to blow anything up, it's going to be when you're accelerating. That's when it draws the most amps. What have we got in choice of here? Cutoff type is reduced power. Cutoff altogether, that would be cut off. You would just shut it down. Just go reduced power. We already knew that's right. And that's it. Brake type off. Okay. So that's programmed. Now I just have to program the throttle. Just get a switch in the power side of things here. So it's just like any other speed controller. Hold it flat out, turn it on, wait for the beeps, let go. Did 6 beeps because I got a 6S pack in there. And it should, if I had a propeller on there, I'd know if it's turned the right way. It's going that way. So it's going the wrong way. So I'll swap a couple of wires over, and that's it. I've actually just gone and looked at the specs of this motor, and it's actually a Y wind, so I'm going to have to raise the timing on that. I'll put it up to 15 degrees. Okay, so the good thing about these trays is you can actually strap the battery in first and then slide it in, so you don't have to deal with these straps under the deck of the boat or anywhere tight. Just gonna be running this on 4S first time out because I have no idea what prop I need to use. Just keep it super safe. Whether the rollover function is all going to be upset, whether I run a 4S or a 6S, I don't know. So just tighten that in there. And there you go. There's my battery held in. I can move it forward or back. Should have put a prop on to test it, but oh well. Okay, so I've got my steering back to front. How do we use this thing? Down. Reverse. There we go. Throttle, steering, reverse. Go the other way. We're in business. My lake is really low at the moment. It's the start of winter here, so we really need some rain to fill it back up. Man, this is a long way down. I've just got I haven't even touched the stinger or the tabs. Which one's a throttle? Which one's a trim? This one. Just left it where TFL had it, and it was about, the stinger was just a couple of mil up, negative. Yeah, I'd want to push that stinger down a bit. Or a lot. Alright. Just bring that in and see what the temps are like and adjust the trim. Didn't blow up, so that's the first thing. Okay, so everything's really cold. That's good. So I could tell that prop wasn't pushing this boat very well because it was so small. It was cavitating. So I can put a bigger prop on for 4S and see how that goes. We've got 64 k's an hour. Surprised it actually went that fast, to be honest. Okay, so I've gone from 38 to 42. I've got the stinger what looks like straight. I didn't bring a straight edge with me, but probably pulled it down at least 2 mil. I pulled it down, took off way better then. No more cavitation. Oh, we still need to pull it down. I can slide the battery forward, which will help that too. Might be testing over the rollover function if I keep running it like this. Alright. Yeah, I might try and fix this. Put you off a little bit when you've got to tape a boat up rather than having hatch locks, but better not be lazy. Okay. see what that bigger prop got us up to. 76. And the main thing is nothing's hot. Main thing is the battery is still stone cold, so we're not stressing anything out. So I'm just going to slide the battery forward only. I'm not going to adjust the tabs or the stinger anymore. I just want to do one thing at a time. Okay. Alright, let's see what that does. Alright, so I pushed the battery forward. I've put a 44mm prop on there now, 2mm bigger. It's all good information for when I want to run 6S, so the balance will be all out the window when I try that, but I'll know for sure if it comes in not too hot on this one, I'll be able to run at least that 38mm on the 6S. Ooh. I'm going to have to pull stuff down, this ain't working out. Man. I don't feel like I'm taping it again. I'll just use it as it is. Okay, now we've got to find out if the rollover function works. It doesn't help that I've got the slow takeoff thing. I'm going to have to push this one in. Hang on. It's on the side there. Well, it's coming in anyway. Okay. Alright, so I've got 83 k's an hour on 4S, so we're going faster than a Traxxas Spartan on 6S so far, and temps are actually really good. Yeah, nothing's even really warm, but motor's a little bit warm. Speed controller's not, battery certainly not, so we've got room to go more. I suppose it's the power of that motor that's letting me run bigger and bigger props, and it's not even warming up. So if I could be bothered, I'd go out there again and put a 48mm prop on there. I'd be happy to go that 4mm jump, but I can't be bothered. I've done for the day. It doesn't roll over like it's supposed to, but to be fair, it's got a motor that's twice as heavy as the 36mm motor that it's meant to have in it, and I've got a heavier speed controller on the wrong side of the boat, so I don't think it's ever going to roll over. Maybe if I put the 6S battery in there, you know, maybe, but I wouldn't bet on it. Apart from that, it's good. Oh, tiny bit of water in the boat, but not too bad.